My name's Nikki OHara and I live in Straven, South Lanarkshire. So when my partner tested positive, it was a bit of a surprise. Day 6 of my partner getting it, I got it. But I just thought, I'll be fine. I'm relatively young, but relatively fit. I don't have any underlying health problem. I would be fine. That's what I thought. But it didn't happen like that. I had, and my daughter was actually my daughter, who said that she noticed that I'd been coughing for a couple of days. And she said, well, I think you should go and get a test. Yeah, I got the positive test result through. But when it kind of rolled into the second week, yeah, I wasn't feeling great. And I was kind of thinking, I think I'm feeling breathless. And I know that sounds funny saying, I think I'm feeling breathless. But it's not really something I've kind of had before. But I was conscious when I was like going upstairs, I was kind of like really struggling to get up the stairs. Yeah, we went to bed and I was a bit nervous. And I said that, Roger's dad unfortunately was in hospital and he had COVID. Although again, we didn't probably fully appreciate how ill he was. I mean, he's, but he was an 84-year-old man with dementia. But sadly, he was in hospital, with severe dementia and with COVID. But I think we didn't think it was going to, kill him. So we just tried to weigh up as a family, yes, probably Roger would have to go down south for Christmas, and that was fine because that's where the need was. So that's basically what was happening. He was going to go down south to be with his mum, who's pretty frail, and I would be up here, which was fine. I've got my kids and stuff up here. Anyway, he was going to leave, and I was just thinking, I'm not feeling great. And I thought, I'm just going to phone more as a bit of a check-in. I'm going to phone the NHS just to see, what they say. And when she phoned back, she said, look, I'd like you to come in, but more just for a check. And so I went and woke my daughter up and said, look, don't worry about it, it's fine, but I'm just going to go into hospital and get checked. I did pack a bag, so maybe I had in foresight in that I was going to be staying. And then I was admitted to the Ward 10, which is the acute receiving COVID ward. And you're in there, you don't leave it, you're not allowed out the door at all. So I stayed in one ward for a couple of days, and then I was moved. And at that point, I was probably a bit iller. They already knew at that point that I'd been for x-rays and stuff, and they could see that I had potentially pneumonia in my lungs, and I had a pretty high temperature that they were struggling to, they were obviously trying to manage with medication, but, they were struggling. But basically, they couldn't get my temperature down. So at one point, I had a pillowcase of ice all round my head, trying to bring my temperature down. So they put me onto IV, a drip to obviously hydrate me, and IV medication and oral medication. So I was on steroids and IV antibiotics. And I guess that then helped, I think, manage the infection in my lungs. They would come down and do my the observations every 4 hours, and I'd be like really hoping that my temperature was down, because for me that was an indication that they were controlling the infection. My oxygen levels weren't great, and then I had to go into a full mask because I needed more oxygen. So I was on 8 litres of oxygen for quite a few days. I suppose there was a couple of days that were scary. There was a point where they weren't sure. Of course, they can't be sure because they don't know, how things are going to go. I was kind of desperate to get home. A lot better. The first couple of days that I came home, I wasn't great. I mean, physically and emotionally, which, I mean, I am normally a pretty strong person, and I guess I'm normally the person that supports other people Although I'm not, I'm not afraid to admit when I'm struggling, but I was really, really scared coming home. And the first couple of days that I was home, to be honest, I was terrified. In a way, I still thought I was going to die. I mean, I still feel pretty scared, to be honest. I had a conversation with a couple of nurses, and they said, if you can get that message out, there is something about real life stories. And I thought it's the kind of least I can do, that on Facebook, it's been shared 850 times. People have private messaged me. NHS staff that I've never met have messaged me and thanked me. Feels wrong. They've thanked me when I'm thanking them for what they've done. They're the ones who are the real heroes, not me. Of course, people let their guard down a wee bit. It's natural. 11 months down, I've got friends, I've got family, I want to see them. But the reality is, you can't. And now we know that the virus is now more dangerous. And, people need to take heed, or more people are going to die.